working paper by the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. While speaking about the impact of recent developments and launches in the fintech and the digital payment ecosystem in Bharat, Amazon Pay India CEO Vikas Bansal said UPI is revolutionizing credit growth. On this Friday edition of The Right Stand, our top focus with respect to stories, is it a war-like situation in Manipur? From drones now to rockets, long-range rockets have now been fired. We also get you exclusive inputs on the Manipur violence and whether or not there is a foreign hand weaponizing the state and some insurgents within the state. Exclusive inputs here on the show. Havoc on Hindus continues in Manipur, in Bangladesh. Muhammad Yunus remains in denial as the community makes a fervent appeal in the neighboring state, save us. And how Swachh Bharat has helped avert 60,000 plus infant deaths per year as per experts. One of the biggest achievements of the Modi Sarkar over the last decade. We take a closer look at the study this evening on The Right Stand. But first up, story number one, Manipur and what's happening. We have continuously said that there is somebody or some entities who are weaponizing Manipur. There can be ethnic strife, but how are certain insurgents and certain elements in the state actually getting the kind of equipment and that is surprising many, from drones to rockets now. Have a look at these visuals. After dropping bombs using drones, suspected Kuki insurgents are firing long-range rockets at former Chief Minister's residence near the INA Museum in Moirang. Manipur's first Chief Minister, Marambam Koireng Singh, was struck. An elderly priest was reportedly killed. Now we are getting visuals released by the Meiteis on how the Kukis have unleashed these rockets in Manipur. Now this is within Bharat in Manipur, and suddenly this strife seems to be escalating. And some of the information that we'll share this evening here on The Right Stand, ladies and gentlemen, will compel you to go back and consider what the ousted Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, had said not so long ago. Now, amid drone attacks by the Kukis in Manipur, CNN News 18 has also learned that the Kukis have sought foreign help in carving out a separate state for them, making matters further serious, according to intelligence sources. A separate memorandum has been issued to the United Nations, the UK and Israel, and this is almost a year ago, in June 2023, by the World Kuki Intellectual Council. Intel sources have said that the hidden agenda of the Kukis is a dangerous one, with their possible alliance with world bodies to carve out first a separate state and thereafter somewhere work towards a separate nation. Now, according to details available, the Council submitted 3 memorandums to the UK, the United Nations and also to Israel for special intervention to meet their demands of a separate state from the hilly areas. This, they said, was their right of self-governance under Article 3 of the Indian Constitution. But on the 1st of September, the Kukis then used an ambulance as a cover. And this is more news. The Kukis then used the ambulance as a cover to infiltrate Meitei village in Manipur under the guise or garb of essential emergency services. These Kuki militants then killed a 31-year-old woman, injured 10 others in Kotruk, Imphal West district by dropping bombs from drones and also firing from inside the ambulance and then running away. Now, CNN News 18 has come across a video purportedly released by the Kuki attackers. Now, these are all of them celebrating what they have done inside what is clearly a medical van and ambulance, thus confirming CNN News 18's story. Now, the celebratory video shot inside the ambulance calls the militants involved the heroes of today's attack. We have deliberately muted the audio because there are a lot of this is unconfirmed video and there is a lot of vitriol that's been spewed. So we've muted the audio, we're playing out this video. This is what is the claim. This is purportedly released by the Kukis themselves after celebrating the attack on the Meitei community. They are our pride, our brave youth, is what has been heard saying reportedly. This is the Lemkhong Area Protection Committee coming back after their attack in Kotruk. This is our tiger company which is eating because they are hungry. So they are going out on preying on Meiteis. That's the inference. They are still inside the ambulance and it's too dark outside. They are still working so hard. This is how we Kukis are living and surviving, the same way we celebrate after the attack. Long live our youth. This is what The audio of this video purportedly says, along with certain aspects which are not mentionable on a national channel. Now, we'll also show you the memo by the Kukis to Israel for special intervention to meet their demands of a separate state from hilly areas. They said that this was their right of self-governance under Article 3 of the Bharatiya Constitution. Now, this is that memo. That's the video. Along with this, there is also this entire lineage narrative that they have been pushing. They sent across a false memorandum or a false to the president. A day after this attack, the president of Bharat, they sent across a false memorandum with a false narrative. So playing the predator and also the preyed at the same time. So this double gaming of the narrative is also something which is a concern. B.L. Vora, former DGP Manipur with us, Dr. Ankita Datta, researcher and columnist with us, Maruf Raza, defense analyst with us. Let's go straight across to them. Namaste, Jai Hind, thank you for your time. B.L. Vora ji, we spoke with you the other day. Now, how do you see this sudden escalation that is happening, the weaponizing, the kind of weapon systems and the kind of warfare methodology? It only shows that these are all highly trained cadre.
It's a dangerous development, Anand. It's a challenge to the Indian state, straight away. And I think that Indian state must strike back with its full might. I think we have been dealing with them with kid gloves. Now these people, see, let us look at the scenario. They have no dearth of money. Let's first talk of money. Thousands of weapons, as you know, were looted by them. In fact, were handed over also by economists with money. So these weapons can be sold in the market and tons of money can come in. The drug lords. Drug lords are the one who are financing the whole thing. Drug lords, because Manipur is at the tip of the golden triangle. It's not today, it has been there always. But earlier the cultivation was not there in Manipur. But now, after the military junta in Myanmar, it tried to break the bone of those insurgents there. So many of them have walked over to Chandpur, their kith and kin, from the Chin people. And they were challenged because they were challenged by the Manipur government because, their count was being taken. So the drug lords got alarmed and so they are financing. Then we have China, Pakistan, Bangladesh. They are the one. They're all anti-India. So they are also they are fishing actually, if you ask me, in the troubled waters. So if you put all this together, there's so much of money involved. And with this money, you can buy anything. Training the people, getting drones, it's not easy. And now the way you are mentioning, memorandum to the other countries, memorandum to the President of India, all this. And I think the weakness of the Indian state, having not taken it seriously, is also a contributory factor to the situation which has been allowed to drift. And it has become so bad today that handling it will be difficult, of course not impossible. Now let us see what should be done. Anti-drone technology is available with the Indian Army. It's available with the Assam Rifles. It's available with the Air Force. The local police will not have it. They'll need help. First, of course, in deployment, these forces will have to do it. And then, of course, later on, the local police can be trained and did. And now these rockets, as you mentioned today. In fact, I am rather surprised. And they are trying to give us a spectre like, what we are having in Ukraine and all that, or in Hamas and all that. And so many people, the deep states elsewhere, they will jump at this gun and they'll try to destabilize it. The Northeast. And Northeast traditionally has been neglected by the Indian state, and I think this has continued and Manipur has been allowed to go on the boil. I must say honestly that political decision making has been very poor. I think they haven't done it. They should have done it. Chief Minister should have been removed. I am saying so with very, very responsibly. I have been Home Secretary also there in Manipur. And diplomatically, we should be there. Neutral officers must be posted there because insiders, many of them have taken sides. And maybe the president's rule should be there, I think, for at least 1 or 2 years. Priority should be to handle this position, and it should not be allowed to further escalate. I
Right.
think it's very, very important, Anand.
Jay.
Thank
So, please stay on with us. We've got Dr. Ankita Datta and Maruf Raza also with us. Now, there is an ethnic aspect to it, and that's a narrative. While there was a memorandum sent to Benjamin Netanyahu, the then Prime Minister of Israel, back in 2023, there are Israeli-made drones. There are drones that have been identified as Israeli-made drones. But there is not just a weapon system connection or a material connection here. There is also this ethnic narrative that's being drawn from about 722 BC that's been drawn, Ankita Dattaji, where they are not only pushing out a map, they are saying that this is all Kukis region. So perhaps even giving some amount of credibility to what Sheikh Hasina said, that there is an element or a deep state, or there are forces which are trying to carve out a separate Christian state in this entire region. Like East Timor, a similar situation where there are portions of the Kukis region in Myanmar, there is portion of Manipur, Mizoram, and also Chittagong of Bangladesh. And they've actually released this kind of propaganda saying this is all the Kuki region, Kuki country, and they said pseudo merger with Manipur or with Meitei community when they talk about into Indian Union in 1949. So that's the kind of narrative that's being spun. Dr. Ankita Datta.
Right, absolutely. So yes, namaste everyone. What you have just mentioned, Anandji, is about the crisis that is going on in Bangladesh, and in that context, we need to understand their demand for a separate Kuki land. So I'll directly come to your question. So the recent Bangladesh crisis, we should understand it can easily lead to the rise of an Islamist regime there, which will naturally see an increase in the powers of Islamic fundamentalist groups like the Sharqiya group, that is the Jamaatul Ansar, which is working hand in gloves with the KCNF. The KCNF is the Kukis National Front, based in the Chittagong Hills in terms of finances and training. So they are inter-network. So obviously an Islamic Bangladesh will lend them more support, their bases and their activities in Bangladeshi territory. And this might and this is going to happen sooner or later. It will see greater involvement of Mizoram, because the government of Mizoram has been working deep down, it has been working continuously to create this unique, homogeneous Kukis separate Christian Kuki nation. And exactly for this reason, it has been allowing these illegal Kuki immigrants from Myanmar, particularly the militants of the KCNF, the Kukis National Front from Bangladesh, to settle in the territory of Mizoram. So it is quite possible that these militants who are infiltrating into Mizoram and settling there, especially with the newfound patronage from the government of Bangladesh, it is quite possible that they might fuel further disturbances in the region, in the entire Northeast. We just cannot rule out that possibility. Also, see, we should understand that there is a significant section of Meitei and Vishnupriya Hindu Manipuri population in Bangladesh.
Right.
They have not yet been affected by this crisis, but as we see the way in which things are unfolding, and the experiences of the Chakmas, the Tripuras, Marmas, and other tribes in Bangladesh. So these Meiteis and the Vishnupriyas, they will be affected too, sooner than later. And when they will be affected, there will be no one to help them. So their population is just a few thousand in Bangladesh, so that few thousand population of Meitei and Vishnupriya Manipuris being displaced either in the medium or long term is very much possible. Also, there is a common factor between whatever is happening in Bangladesh right now and the scenario in Manipur. The role of the deep state, as you mentioned, the CIA in particular, the CIA in orchestrating the regime, in orchestrating the change of regime in Bangladesh, and as well as the violence in Manipur. So it is very much possible that we might see a possible change in the map of Kuki land. So in such a scenario, it might exclude the areas of Bangladesh as well, and include mainly Myanmar and the Northeast. So there might be some accommodative changes in their map of imaginary Kuki land to maintain a united strategic front at this time.
Right.
Regarding solutions, I would just like to mention one point. Regarding solutions, most importantly, the government of India must immediately abrogate the that is the suspension of operations pact with all the Kuki militants, because they are freely moving with arms today. They are responsible for inflicting violence upon hapless citizens of this country. Also, full-scale military operations need to be conducted in the hills of Manipur, cutting off all the escape routes.
Right. Now, I've just got this before, as I go across to Maruf Raza, I'm just going to walk across to our viewers and show you what we've accessed here. So this is the entire memorandum that was sent to Benjamin Netanyahu. So this became very interesting here, and questions were asked as to why, and it just becomes seeking urgent intervention for protection of minority Kuki, Manmasi, Manasseh people on humanitarian ground. Now, Dr. Ankita Datta, if you can quickly just also explain, this is the Jewish connection that they're drawing. And this is from about a 2,000-year-old story, which they have said that they were actually sent to this part of the world at that time as prisoners. And they have survived here in this region. And that's why there is a Jewish connection to it.
No, this is completely a false propaganda. There is nothing like nothing as such like Jewish connection. There are several Kuki scholars and so-called academics who have even cited false DNA tests that never happened actually, to further confirm that these Kukis, they have their ancestry with Israel. Their historical claims with Israel are not corroborated by any literary or archaeological evidence till date. No historical record of their mass migration due to religious persecution, as they claim. Nothing of that sort has been found till date. So, even anthropologists say that as a result of intermingling with the locals of Northeast India, even their DNA is not pure enough at present to establish their roots now. So doubts have been continuously raised from time to time over the authenticity of this Jewish origin theory. Several sections. Yeah.
So this is one narrative. Let's look at the next narrative. I'm just going to check if we can get to the next picture here. Right. I'm just going to check where I can find the next picture. There is the other image that I wanted to check. I'll just get it on here. Let's just check. I'm just going to check on that. But Maruf Raza, as we open up the other country, the map that they're talking about, how did this escape the notice of the center, sir? That there is such a big issue brewing.
Anand, there's a lot of things that escape the notice of the center. The problem is that our intelligence agencies are not able to react speedily to the first existing or the second existing challenge. By the time they get their act together, the next set of challenges come up. So these kind of challenges will keep coming up. And I'll tell you something that I'm familiar to some extent of the Kuki story, because 40 years ago when I was in the army and I served in Manipur, Mizoram, especially Churachandpur and that area, the Kukis were beginning to get together and create a sizable front against the Indian security forces. The second thing is that we must understand that this is a pipe dream a lot of tribes in the Northeast live with, because they claim to have a connection with Israel, the Jewish theories of a larger nation state, and therefore the tribals often have many of their literature, holy literature documents, are also in the language that is spoken in Israel. And this has, I remember reading about it about 30, 40 years ago, that this has led the Israelis and the Jews to grant them the option that they could be given right of residence or whatever in Israel. So there is a link there. Now the pointed issue is that India is a multicultural, multifarious link of various historical narratives, and we cannot let every narrative take over the idea of India. The idea of India is a powerful one, and it must be reinforced by the government. Now, if the government of India goes little slow on this, this is how insurgencies go out of hand. They bloom, you go slow on it, you try and show sort of a humanitarian angle to it, and there it goes, bang, out of hand. So we are in a situation now, we need to put our foot down. I think the Home Ministry has got too many problems on its table. And I have written about it years ago after 26/11, that the Home Ministry should have two MOSs. One dealing with Pakistan-sponsored terrorism and what have you, and one dealing with internal insurgencies and what have you.
But Marufji, I'm interrupting you here because one, it is ironical that the Abrahamic forces, as they are termed, who are at conflict worldwide and have been fighting crusades for nearly 2 millennia, seem to be ganging up and helping each other here. There is a Judah connection, there is a Christian connection, and there is a Islamic connection here in this region, as Dr. Ankita Datta explained. But I also want to draw your attention to this. See, to the letter in June 2023, the Kukis demanded a separate state. But as per Dr. Grierson Abraham in 1984, who did a linguistic survey of India then under British rule, this is what the Kukis are actually demanding, and this is the narrative being pushed, that this is all actually Kuki country. Now this Kuki country includes portions of Liam or Myanmar, there is portions of Bharat, there is portions of Bangladesh. So this is the entire region. Now if they start asking for this, Marufji, how will we counter this? Because it looks like that's the narrative being pushed, and that's exactly what Sheikh Hasina had hinted. That there are interests, Western interests, who want to create this kind of a separate Christian state in this region.
Anand, there are these vociferous tendencies that have been played up on by our neighbors and our adversaries. And we have to put our foot down and say, sorry, none of this will do. You've got what you've got. And if you can compromise and fall in line with it, good for you. If you don't, we will kick you into submission. You can't be polite with all these kind of narratives. You have to be tough, and anything that threatens the idea of the Indian state must be dealt with very severely. That's my view. I've always held that view in my writings and in my comments. As far as the Jewish angle is concerned, you see, Israel would be very foolish to try and spread its net as far away as Mizoram when it can barely cope with its own borders. And India could do well to provide Israel the necessary intelligence inputs, and if need be, ask for some of their counter-terrorism forces to be able to come and assist our own Psyops forces in those areas. Because none of this is going to happen overnight. None of this can be done very easily. But you can handle it if you are a determined man at the top and you don't have other interests. Your interests are primarily the security of India, as the Home Ministry
but here is
has been empowered.
Here is the other challenge. The numbers show, BL Voraji, that the budget for Manipur is 35,000 crore, government budget. But the drug economy is 60,000 crore. They are very, very heavily funded because the poppy cultivation is happening in the hills. That's dominated by the Kukis. They have free passage into Myanmar, which again gives them access into that Golden Triangle region. There are Chinese businessmen, there are drug cartels, they're all operating there. Some even allege that there are pharma labs there, big pharma which is present there, and there is money coming from everywhere. Plus, there is also weapons access, long-range rockets, drones, sophisticated equipment. Some of these Kuki are also very heavily trained, whether in Myanmar, whether in Bharat itself, because they have been, they are ex-service persons. We don't know, but these are all estimations being made. Amidst all of this, can we really counter and put a lid on all of this?
A few points, Anand, before that.
Ji.
Everybody has been wanting a big pie of the Northeast. Bangladesh, Pakistan, if you know, when Pakistan was being created, for East Pakistan, they wanted the entire Northeast to be a part of East Pakistan at that time. And Sheikh Mujibur Rahman himself had said that this land belongs to us. It's a natural extension of East Pakistan at that time. So Bangladesh is not a lesser culprit. So Bangladesh is one, or Pakistan for that matter. Two is Nagaland. If you ask them, they have also been asking Nagaland, you know, bigger Nagaland, greater Nagaland they have been asking. They also want the whole of Nagaland. Now Kukis, see, let me tell you, as far as my knowledge goes, some Mizos have gone already to Israel as Jews, past Jews, and they have settled there. So I think there is some connection there, not a large number though. I don't think Israel is going to be really, frankly, affected by this so-called memorandum. Thousands of memorandums are issued every day to United Nations, everywhere, here and there. And I don't think we should give any importance. But I think this shows more the weakness of the central government, that we haven't handled it properly. Intelligence agencies have also failed. And if they have given reports, which normally, certainly they would have, though not as much as required, no action has been taken. See, for the last 1 year, we have allowed the situations to drift. 3rd May it happened. It's more than a year now. So I think it is our weakness has contributed. So as I repeated earlier, as I mentioned earlier, it's time for President Rule 1 to deploy the entire might of the Indian state. 3, have neutral officers from outside in all, whether it's police or bureaucracy or everywhere. And have some effective people at the top who will deliver the goods. I think everybody has contributed knowingly, unknowingly to the situation before it goes up the fan. And I don't think America, honestly, I'm not that I'm a big admirer of America, but I think America will not be involved in such a thing. But certainly China, yes, it suits its interest in a big way. Bangladesh and Pakistan also.
Well, there is the West and the American interest, given the adversarial position they have taken against the Chinese, that they want to have a base. The San Martin base was a big issue which Sheikh Hasina raised with respect to the white man. That's for
Bangladesh, but anyway, that's
no, but in this region, carving out a nook there also puts paid to the BRI objectives of the Chinese, which is to the advantage of the elements of the West. Now, and then the kind of forces which are operating there on the religious lines also get their funding from where we know the answers to that too. So at multiple levels, but the larger issue for us is going to be that it's not a 2-front conflict then. It's 3 fronts that then get opened up for the Indian state and the armed forces, defense forces.
Everybody is fishing in the troubled waters, let me tell you. And I think it's a big wake-up call. And as Maruf said, even I had written an article some time back that there should be a separate Ministry of Internal Security in the country now. It should not be any longer a part of the Ministry of Home Affairs. Home has lot other things on its plate. They're so busy with that. Why MOS? Why not have a separate, exclusive Union Minister of Internal Security? Should look after all these issues. And India has a lot of. We have communal issues, we have drug issues, we have cyber crime, we have Northeast, we have Pakistan, we have J&K. God knows how much is on our plate.
Plus we've not even spoken about the Maoism, the Maoist terror, the Red Terror. That's also another big challenge.
Another problem, Anand, is Northeast is politically very weak. That's why nobody gives any importance. Manipur has just 2 MPs. Mizoram has 1 MP. Tripura has 2 MPs. These guys have political weight. Do you know, and I'm privy to it, Chief Minister of Manipur, once he came to Delhi, he could not meet the Home Minister and even the Home Secretary. Whereas Chief Minister UP sought an appointment same day.
So in terms
at
of
the
priority,
Chief Minister of UP, but Chief Minister of Manipur waited for 10 days for chap. He wasn't given an audience by the Home Minister.
so
I'm sorry saying this, but these are the facts.
no, true. I'm saying misplaced priorities. Somewhere our borders are left most bare. Frankly, a nation like Bharat, which is surrounded by inimical forces, we need to have our borders secured, and our borders are most bare. Nearly 8,000 kilometers, if not more, of unguarded, uncharted, and also unmarked territory. That's what we are actually looking at, if not more. Thank you very much, B.L. Voraji, Maruf Raza, and Ankita Datta will stay on with us. We're going to quickly shift focus from this region in the neighborhood only, but Bangladesh, where after reaching out to Hindus days after taking over, the head of Bangladesh interim government, Mohammad Yunus, is now questioning Bharat's concerns. The genocide of sorts is actually taking place, with nearly 50 districts reportedly out of 64 witnessing incidences of hate against Hindus witnessed on the streets. Now, like the Western media outlets, the head of Bangladesh government seems to be in complete denial, even as massive protests are being planned by Hindu groups in Bangladesh following reports that a Bengali Hindu boy, Utsab Mondal, who only stood up to certain Islamist elements on social media who are brazenly abusing the Hindu faith, was brutally beaten while in custody of the army and police there over claims that he actually insulted Islam. Mandal was reportedly taken to a police station where a mob surrounded the facility demanding his release. Then the situation escalated when the mob seized Mandal, and as he was being removed from the station, the current status remains unclear, with many believe that he is dead, but the official authorities saying that he is still alive and his life and he's being attended to. The visuals are very disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. Bangladesh Army's Inter-Services Public Relations or ISPR wing has stated that Mandal is alive but in critical condition. So they are still trying to deny his death just because they know that situation could really fall out of hand. Bikram Banerjee, activist, will be joining us. He's working for the Bangli Hindu in the United Kingdom. Dr. Ankita Datta stays on with us and Maruf Raza stays on with us. Maruf, मैं आपसे start करता हूँ. What do you think, sir? What's happening in Bangladesh? Is this all political?
Anand, in such anarchical situations, you will find people throwing up all sorts of parochial anger at whoever they can lay their hands on. Please understand, again, the blame must lie with New Delhi. That when Bangladesh became free of Pakistani rule, Indian military officers like General Jacob, who's written in his biography, had said very clearly to the Indian bureaucracy and intelligence agencies that was in Bangladesh the moment the liberation of Bangladesh took place, to say that the minority community in Bangladesh, particularly it was then East Pakistan, particularly Hindus, must be provided very clear directives of protection. We were complicit, we were arrogant, and we said, oh, don't worry about it. That's a job not for the military, that's a job for the bureaucracy. Every time the bureaucracy steps in to take all the credit, and when things get messed up, they start looking for who to make a scapegoat. So there was that problem that we never built in safeguards for the minorities then. Secondly, even when the situation was spiraling out of control, when Sheikh Hasina fled the country, India had every reason to offer that it will provide a security force to protect the minorities if Bangladesh is not so competent. And it's understandable that A, Bangladesh doesn't have a great track record of dealing with internal uprisings. B, Bangladesh's military and others were too busy trying to douse the fire that was all over the country and not look at the interests of the minorities, which is not so much their kith and kin, which is our kith and kin. Right. And we should have put our foot down and said, we are sending in a force as a peace enforcement force, like we did in the case of Sri Lanka, and not a peacekeeping force. Peacekeeping force comes with a UN mandate, which is a long drawn out boring process. A peace enforcement force, and Indians are pretty clued up on that. We've been providing peace related operations across Africa, across Sri Lanka, everywhere. And in no time, we would have stabilized the situation, handed it over to Bangladeshi security forces and moved away. We have no intention of occupying territory. We are a status quoist country. That means we respect the status quo and we don't want to take over territories and make as it is, India is so huge, it's sometimes pretty unmanageable. So it's better that we stabilize the situation. But what is important for us is our neighborhood should be quiet, stable, and well controlled. And if Bangladesh's security forces can't do it, then we've got our forces.
Well, it's not about can't do it, it's about they don't want to do it. Now there is a difference there. Inability and deliberate inaction is a serious problem, Maruf. We got Vikram Banerjee here. Vikram, there are a lot of claims that the ISPR says that he's still alive. But there are others which say that he was already dead long back, but they're deliberately trying to, so that the situation doesn't escalate on ground. What is it that you get to understand? There's a whole chain of events which show that it was actually an instigation and an abuse that this boy was standing up to.
Absolutely. This is the news they're spreading so that they can manage the international media and who are their allies as well in some shape and form. I was speaking to a few volunteers in Bangladesh just before this call, trying to understand, is that news that the boy is still alive is actually established fact? And what they're saying, the way the Islamist mob mishandled and attacked the boy, it's very, very unlikely. And no local media or anybody or even family has any clue. It's just the news has been spread that, okay, he's in the hospital, army hospital, and alive. So it's like we have seen some of the movie that for money or something, they keep it in the life support system, the dead bodies for long period of time, and then declare dead. I think, to manage the narrative, they are trying to do that. I hope the news which came out, the boy is still alive, is true. But it is unlikely. It seems to be from the.
But what about those videos purportedly of the attackers claiming the fact that they have done away with somebody who tried to attack their religion or say something about their faith, and claiming that they have avenged it? Are those videos true? Have those people who actually lynched this boy, have they been arrested by the cops?
No, there are videos. And the video does not tell, and those videos are not doctored video, because if we use the common intelligence, you clearly understand whether it is doctored, etc. And there is several sources of these videos coming from different angle and telling the truth. So the police were there, in army personnel were present in front of them. They picked up the boy Utsav, and they initially said that, okay, we are going to not kill, but we are going to disrespect, put sort of color his face, etc. And then they manhandled. They took the dead body and they did a procession and celebrated. That is the fact. How fanatic they are. So the Bangladesh is going completely in the direction of Pakistan or Talibani direction, and the civil society. The moderate people, they are quiet. I think there was another news. I don't know whether we picked up. There was she's Muslim journalist who was actually actively working and spreading what is happening with the minorities. Found dead.
She's found dead.
Very recent. Yeah, found dead. I have those details. I think we are accumulating those data. He was found dead. I would try to find out, and probably next.
So you're saying a Muslim journalist woman, a lady who was actually highlighting the atrocities being committed against minorities in Bangladesh, has now been found dead. Now situation going from bad to worse in Bangladesh on ground, but Mohammed Yunus believes all is well. This is all just political, nothing so serious. Bharat needs to figure out not everybody outside of Sheikh Hasina is Islamist in Bangladesh. Dr. Ankita Datta, your thoughts?
Yeah, see, when we are talking about Bangladesh, we need to understand the Myanmar angle here. The civil war and the violence in Myanmar on the one hand, and a politically unstable Bangladesh on the other hand, which poses serious challenges for India because India's interests are now being hit on every front. In the Chin state of Myanmar, bordering Mizoram, resistance forces in the Chin state are known to have been indulging in drug trafficking to fund their movement to fight against the military junta, while also receiving funds from foreign countries. And it was after the collapse of civil administration in Myanmar following the military coup in February 2021, and Myanmar military's presence in the Chin state and Sagaing region, which became lax over a period of time. There are many evidences of how drug trafficking from the infamous Golden Triangle to the different states of the Northeast and the rest of the country suddenly saw a huge upsurge. Also, the China-backed insurgent groups of Myanmar, like the Arakan army and also those of the Chin Kukis, they have attacked Indian investments in the country since the beginning of the military coup in Myanmar. And aided by foreign powers, the Burmese insurgents are now threatening our Kaladan project. So see, we should understand this India's trade and commercial route on the west is already being blocked by Pakistan. Now, when we are talking about a separate Christian nation carving off this Kuki land, Zomi land, Zor land, whatever they call it, from Manipur, it will see the church establishing absolute control over this strategic location, and which will help them contain India in expanding its trade and commercial ties towards the ASEAN countries. It would act as a kind of, I would say, second Pakistan in our eastern frontiers, not only taking away it will take away the crucial warm water port of Chattogram from Bangladesh, but it will also completely block off India's access to Southeast Asia.
Right.
Most importantly, it would allow the West to have a crown colony in this geostrategically sensitive northeastern region, from where they can monitor the activities of both India and China. So Christianization of this region and missionary activities are going on in full swing since a long time.
Right.
So it is our sincere hope that the government of India would certainly not bow down to international and internal pressures.
Right. I have to wind up this conversation, but it's just unfolding. There are many layers to this, and somewhere they all seem to be connected. There's activity in this entire area suddenly spurging simultaneously. Bangladesh active, Myanmar active, Manipur active, and there is some link between all of this. Makes for very interesting times ahead, but more importantly, strategically critical times ahead for Bharat, not just with respect to security, national security, internal security, but with respect to our dreams, our vision to grow and becoming an economic powerhouse. And somewhere core of it is all economics. That's what it comes down to. Thank you very much to Ankita Datta, Bikram Banerjee, and also Maruf Raza. Thank you very much. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, how Swachh Bharat has helped avert 60,000 plus infant deaths every year. The entire story explained here on The Right Stand.
ने जन्म लिया, हमारी प्रतिभावान जो हमारी देश की जो खेल के स्तर पर जो ऊंचा बढ़ाने का काम किया, आज वो हमारी पार्टी में शामिल हो रही हैं। अभी वो खेल के अखाड़े में थी और राजनीति के अखाड़े में उतर रही हैं। मैं उनका हरियाणा प्रदेश कांग्रेस कमेटी की तरफ से हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी। मैं माननीय केसी वेणुगोपाल जी, हमारे महासचिव संगठन से आग्रह करूंगा कि एआईसीसी की तरफ से वो 2 शब्द कहें।
धन्यवाद। Today is the big day of Indian National Congress. A proudful moment for all of us to join Manish Phogat ji and Bajrang Punia ji inside the platform of Indian National Congress. Manish ji, hailing a family from Russells, when she was 9 years old, her father was shot dead in front of the house of a relative of her family. Can you imagine that? When a girl child was 9 years old, her own father shot dead by nearby the family premises. But her conscious mind brought her here. Her braveness brought her here. Her courage brought her here. Becoming a 3-time Olympian, having completed in 3 different weight classes, 48 kg in 2016, 53 kg in 2020 and 50 kg in 2024. In 2024, she became the first Indian woman wrestler to have reached finals at the Olympic Games. However, we know, most disappointed news, India heard that point of time she had been disqualified. In the same games, she had also become the first international wrestler to defeat the then reigning Olympic champion Yu Sasaki. After her disqualification, she announced retirement.
On with us, we have in fact live visuals now coming in. Vinesh Phogat and Bajrang Punia there on stage. You see Congress leaders KC Venugopal, Pawan Khera as well. The formal induction is just going to take place. There is going to be comments. Right now, we will not have any certainty of whether either of the two, Vinesh Phogat or Bajrang Punia, would be contesting in the upcoming elections. That's perhaps a discussion that the CEC undertakes, and then a list comes out post that. But there will be an indication of what is next, or what's in store as far as the Congress party is concerned for these two. Are they just going to be a part of the party? Are they going to be campaigning for the Congress party? Or will they be contesting this time around? Pallavi, we are just standing by for that press conference to begin.
नमस्कार साथियों, आप सबने इंतजार किया, उसके लिए धन्यवाद। लेकिन इंतजार एक ऐसे पल के लिए किया जिस पल की आप सबको भी इंतजार थी। कुछ ऐसे दो साथी हमारे जो आपके सामने बैठे हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत कुछ जीता और इस देश का दिल जीता।
क्या हम तय करें कि 2019 जब महात्मा गांधी की 150वीं जयंती बनाएंगे, हमारा गांव, हमारा शहर, हमारा गली, हमारा मोहल्ला, हमारी स्कूल, हमारे मंदिर, हमारे अस्पताल, सभी क्षेत्र गंदगी का नामो निशान नहीं रहने देंगे।
The year 2014 marked a tectonic shift in Bharat's approach to public hygiene and sanitation. Swachh Bharat mission will be remembered as one of the biggest achievements of the Narendra Modi-led administration. Bharat Swachh Bharat Mission, SBM, may have contributed to averting 60,000 to 70,000 infant deaths annually, as per a study published in the prestigious international science journal Nature. 5 researchers have conducted the study, and the article in Nature is titled, quote, Toilet Construction Under the Swachh Bharat Mission and Infant Mortality in India, unquote.
मैं इस तैयारी के साथ आया हूं कि मेरे 125 करोड़ देशवासी, भारत मां के संतान, हमारी इस भारत मां को अब गंदा नहीं रहने देंगे।
SBM was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 2nd of October 2014 as the world's largest sanitation program aimed at turning Bharat into an open, defecation-free nation by 2020. More than 11 crore household toilets were built under the Swachh Bharat Mission Grameen as of 2020, and over 6 lakh villages were declared open defecation-free in just 6 years. between 2014 and 2020. Under the Swachh Bharat mission, urban, over 63 lakh individual household toilets and 6.36 lakh community public toilets have been built. 5 researchers, Suman Chakrabarti, Soira Gune, Tim A. Bruckner, Julie Strominger and Parvati Singh have authored the article that says a quasi-experimental study was done to investigate the association between the Swachh Bharat mission and infant mortality rate and under 5 mortality rates or U5MR in Bharat. Data from 35 Indian states and 640 districts was analysed spanning a period of 10 years between 2011 to 2020. Now let's see what the study found. While the study noted an overall decline in infant mortality during 2003 to 2020, it said the fall was particularly noteworthy between 2015 onwards. For instance, the study said in 2003, the average toilet coverage in a district was below 40% and by 2020 this went up to 60%. The post-SBM period in India exhibited accelerated reductions in infant and child mortality compared to the pre-Swachh Bharat mission years. Based on the regression estimates, the provision of toilets at scale may have contributed to averting approximately 60,000 to 70,000 infant deaths annually. This is what the article mentioned. Results from the study suggest every 10 percentage point increase in district level toilet access following SBM corresponds with a reduction in district level IMR by 0.9 points and U5MR by 1.1 points on average. Improvement of water and sanitation conditions may reduce infant mortality, particularly in countries like Bharat where open defecation is highly prevalent. That's what the article says. The article also mentions that study provides evidence of benefits of India's national sanitation campaign, the Swachh Bharat mission or Clean India mission for infant and child mortality reduction. Our findings add to the growing body of evidence linking national sanitation campaigns to improved child health outcomes and emphasizes the need for similar interventions in other low and middle income countries. The study found evidence of a threshold effect at district level toilet coverage of 30% and above corresponds with substantial reductions in infant and child mortality. The study provides novel evidence of reductions in infant and child mortality following a comprehensive national sanitation program in our country, potentially indicating the transformative role of the Swachh Bharat mission. The article further says that infant and child mortality due to fecal pathogen-based infections, diarrhea in particular, and malabsorption of nutrients may decline following improved access to toilets and elimination of open defecation. According to this report, in 2003, the infant mortality rate in a majority of the districts exceeded 60 per 1,000 live births with a district mean of 48.9. These included districts in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Odisha, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana and Himachal Pradesh. But by 2020, the deaths had fallen below 30 per 1,000 live births with the district mean of 23.5. In 2012, the infant deaths reported was 40 per 1,000 live births per district, which fell to about 33 in 2016 and further dropped below 30 by 2019. Likewise, the deaths of children under the age of 5 in 2012 was about 44 per 1,000 live births per district. It dropped to below 40 in 2014, 35 in 2016 and in 2019 it was below 30. Sharing the findings of the study on X, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and I quote, "Happy to see research highlighting the impact of efforts like the Swachh Bharat mission. Access to proper toilets plays a crucial role in reducing infant and child mortality. Clean, safe sanitation has become a game changer for public health and I am glad that India has taken the lead in this." Unquote. Swachh Bharat mission has been one of the biggest landmark achievements of the government, having far-reaching impact, including generational improvements in health indicators and safety of women and girls.
Co-powered by
ऐसे दो साथियों का हम स्वागत करने के लिए यहाँ इकट्ठे हुए हैं। सबसे पहले मैं हरियाणा के प्रदेश अध्यक्ष श्री उदय भान जी से आग्रह करूंगा कि इनका वो स्वागत कहें, 2 शब्द आप कहें।
हमारे ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी के जनरल सेक्रेटरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आदरणीय श्री वेणुगोपाल जी, हमारे हरियाणा प्रदेश के इंचार्ज जनरल सेक्रेटरी आदरणीय श्री दीपक बावरिया जी, आदरणीय श्री पवन खेड़ा जी, आज जो हमारी पार्टी में सम्मिलित होने जा रहे हैं, हिंदुस्तान का गौरव, जिन्होंने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर दुनिया में पूरा अपनी प्रतिभा का जो परिचय दिया और इस देश की आम जनमानस का दिल जीतने का काम किया, आदरणीय हमारी बेटी विनेश फोगाट, श्री बजरंग पूनिया, दोनों ने ओलंपिक में जिस तरह से अपनी प्रतिभा का प्रदर्शन किया, पहले बजरंग जी ने और अब फिलहाल के जो अभी फ्रांस में हुए, जिस तरह से विनेश हमारी बेटी ने दुनिया की जो सबसे बड़ी पहलवान को चित्त करने का काम किया, उसने पूरे हिंदुस्तान की जनता का दिल जीतने का काम किया और हम सभी हरियाणा वासियों को तो बहुत बड़ा गौरव है कि हमारे हरियाणा से ऐसी हमारी बेटी ने जन्म लिया। हमारी प्रतिभावान जो हमारी देश की जो खेल के स्तर पर जो ऊंचा बढ़ाने का काम किया, आज वो हमारी पार्टी में शामिल हो रही हैं। अभी वो खेल के अखाड़े में थी और राजनीति के अखाड़े में उतर रही हैं। मैं उनका हरियाणा प्रदेश कांग्रेस कमेटी की तरफ से हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी। मैं माननीय केसी वेणुगोपाल जी, हमारे महासचिव संगठन से आग्रह करूंगा कि एआईसीसी की तरफ से वो 2 शब्द कहें।
धन्यवाद। Today is the big day of Indian National Congress. A proudful moment for all of us to join Meitei Phogat ji and Bajrang Punia ji inside the platform of Indian National Congress. Vinesh ji, hailing a family from Russells, when she was 9 years old, her father was shot dead in front of the house of a relative of her family. Can you imagine that? When a girl child was 9 years old, her own father shot dead by nearby the family premises. But her conscious mind brought her here. Her braveness brought her here. Her courage brought her here. Becoming a 3-time Olympian, having completed in 3 different weight classes, 48 kg in 2016, 53 kg in 2020 and 50 kg in 2024.
Good evening, welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. So wrestler Vinesh Phogat, who was tragically disqualified from the Paris Olympics 2024, has now formally joined the Congress party. She says she's not going to reveal whether there was a conspiracy to unseat her, to disqualify her from the Olympics, to disqualify her from competing in the final match of the 50 kg wrestling competition on the final day of the competition, where she was disqualified because she was overweight by about 50 grams or so. But the more important question, and this is the BJP's allegation against Vinesh Phogat, that now it all falls into place. That the wrestlers' protest, which happened through much of 2023, and Vinesh was spearheading that wrestlers protest. Basically, the allegations of sexual assault and molestation against Brijbhushan Sharan Singh, who was a BJP MP at that time and also the head of the Wrestling Federation of India. Now the BJP is saying, now with her joining the Congress party, you can put two and two together. You can have the benefit of hindsight to say that those entire allegations against Brijbhushan Sharan Singh were politically motivated. Brijbhushan Sharan Singh, of course, stepped down, and then one of his nominees has become the WFI president. His son is now the MP from the constituency where he used to be MP from. So just because there are political aspirations, and of course, Vinesh has had political aspirations, and today was a culmination of that. She has not just joined the Congress party, but I believe the Congress party has also given her a ticket to fight in the upcoming Haryana Assembly elections. But does that take away from the grave nature of the allegations against Brijbhushan Sharan Singh? Not only are they grave, but they're grave enough for a court of law to frame charges against him. So let's not confuse two issues. One is the politics, and yes, the BJP has a point. Has the politics overtaken it? But the gravity of these sexual assault charges against Brijbhushan Sharan Singh, let's not try and dilute that. But first, the story.
क्योंकि जब बोलते हैं ना कि बुरे टाइम में पता लगता है कि अपना कौन है। जब हम रोड पे घसीटे जा रहे थे तो छोड़ के बीजेपी को देश में जितनी भी पार्टियां हैं वो हमारे साथ में थी, हमारे दर्द को समझ पा रही थी।
देश की बेटियों की जो आवाज उठाई उसका भुगतान हम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये चीज हमें पता लगी कि जो अत्याचार बेटियों पे हुआ जंतर मंतर पे, उसके साथ सिर्फ बीजेपी पार्टी खड़ी हुई और सभी पार्टी हमारे साथ खड़ी थी।